Hey, this is R&B back after a little holiday slump. Today we're gonna do something back to like the topical like type thing, and I came up with an idea about doing albums that are like panned by critics that we actually like. One of the things about this channel is I feel like we really like music, and so most of the stuff you're gonna see from us is just stuff we like and is really positive. You watch like a lot of YouTube critics, and I don't because they're a bunch of pretentious like creeps and pricks. And you watch them and you think, do you even like music? I'm serious, and that's one thing you're gonna get from us is like enthusiasm for stuff that we like, and if we don't like it, why talk about it? So we're gonna start with one that we both universally liked and thought was a good idea for this topic, and it's gonna be the Lil Wayne Rebirth.
Yes.
And I'm going to let you go first, Rob.
I was just going to say, the critics complained about the vocals, the production, that it's not rap. Some things I like about it is I kind of like how it's really messy and chaotic. The singing's not the best, but somehow it kind of works for me in like the messy attitude. I know. So my favorite songs off of it are Prom Queen, On Fire, Drop the World, which has Eminem, which is actually my favorite, which is kind of odd because it's the least rock song on the album, and it's also produced differently than the rest of the songs. And then I'd have to say I really like I'll Die For You. It has these super corny 80s synths at the beginning, and it almost sounds like Every Breath You Take at the beginning of the song. There's a couple other songs that have corny 80s synths in it, and for some reason, I don't know, I guess I just like it on that album.
All right. So you remember when rap was actually fun? I mean, it might have been quite a long time ago, but this is one of the last really fun rap albums I've heard, and it's because he comes off like he doesn't really care. He actually puts more expression into his vocals, like Rob said, than any of his other actual rap albums. And the biggest criticism I heard is, oh, this rapper's trying to be rock. He can't even play guitar.
That's right.
And I was like, I don't give a shit because this is a rock album in the sense that it's big. You get these songs that you have the audience that would actually sing along with. At one point, I sang along with every word on this whole album because I loved it. And going back to the vocals, some of my favorite songs are because of like the vocals, the puns, and like the noises he would make.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Sometimes it almost sounds like he's like drunk or he's hiccuping through these songs. And my favorite song on here is probably like One Way Ticket. And some of the boastful rhymes on here are just like, they're almost hilarious. Like, he's like, my flow is so sick, I should have died in the first verse. I love that shit. And he's got like one of the Rob didn't mention was Knockout. And there was a period of time where I really liked Nicki Minaj, and she was doing these like guest verses and stuff on there. And this is probably my second favorite thing from Nicki Minaj. And one of the Lil Wayne isms on here, and he was saying back, but he was like back, and he sounded like he was a cat throwing up a hairball or something. Yeah. I thought it was absolutely great.
Yeah.
And the last one I talked about was like the Drop the World was this a little bit of a darker tone. But he's literally talking about, I'm going to pick the world up and I'm going to drop it on your fucking head. That's cartoonish, man. That's the whole thing is him just having fun. And it's ridiculous. And that's why it's one of the best rap albums I heard. It stands out.
Yeah. No, I agree with the fun. The fun. That's kind of why I like the messy, chaotic. It's just a fun, crazy tone.
Yeah. This is a Rob one.
Yeah. So this is another album that I think is a lot along the same lines as the Lil Wayne album. It's Machine Gun Kelly's Tickets to My Downfall. Again, the critics complained about the vocals, the lyrics, the production, because I think basically because it's MGK. Again, I like this one because of the messy and chaotic nature of it. It's not quite as messy and chaotic as the Lil Wayne. He definitely sings a little bit better than Lil Wayne. Not saying that his singing's great. Does it sound like Blink-182? Yes. Do most artists sound like other artists? Yes. So again, I don't get the criticism on that. So again, it's just a fun album. It's got little skits, and actually I kind of like the skits on this, and usually I do not like the little skits on albums. So some of my favorite tracks on this would be Bloody Valentine, Lonely, My Ex-Best Friend, And then Play This When I'm Gone is my favorite, and that's kind of the ballad, the last ballad of the album. So I definitely recommend trying both of these if you like kind of chaotic, trashy, messy rock sounds, just fun stuff.
See, I haven't listened to the album, but one thing I can add to that, it started a small ripple and a small movement. If you love rock, it doesn't matter if you're going to listen to everything. If something can get your genre kind of off the ground and more comes from that's great. And, a couple other artists kind of fall into that punk thing that I actually got into, and I'll probably get into the album at some point. But I think it's positive that he came out with that, and it did as well as it did.
Yeah, his next album is probably one of my most anticipated at this point.
Okay, so we got Katy Perry Witness, and we got Justin Timberlake Man of the Woods. I probably kind of put these together because these two pop artists kind of did something a little bit different in tone, and after kind of like some successful albums. And kind of like their career tapered off after that. The critics kind of panned the albums. And they haven't really, I don't feel like they've really come back a lot since then. And I kind of like both albums. Like Katy Perry is my favorite Katy Perry album. It's kind of some of a little more downbeat. It has some nice ballads, but it also has some of the catchiest songs that I've heard from her. And just a lot of like little details that I really like about that album. And I don't see what the complaints were. Justin Timberlake is also a little more downbeat. I feel like that one, if he didn't come out with the weird single with like the first and like the kind of like really weird video, people wouldn't be saying as much. Criticism on that one, he was trying to be like too much like the Common Man because he was using like, I don't know, real people, lyrics about real people and real things. And I don't know why an artist can't talk about something even if they're not like living it. As an artist, he's supposed to write about different things and try different things out. So I like both of those albums quite a bit.
Yeah, I have to listen to Justin Timberlake album more. That honestly didn't super catch me, but I do really like the Katy Perry album, and I would say that's my favorite Katy Perry album also. Some of the songs I really like on it, Witness, Hey Hey Hey.
Yeah, fucking love it.
The best line on the album. Bon Appetit's one of my favorites.
Great video.
The video, they complained about the video. I think the video's great.
Yeah.
I just like that song a really lot. And then Save His Draft is my other favorite, which is a great ballad. There's quite a few ballads on the album. Yeah, I think it's her best album. I really don't understand why people didn't like it overall.
Change It to Rhythm, the first single, like hooked me right off. It's probably the catchiest thing she's ever done, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and that's not a bad song either. That's
Yeah.
not a good track.
But she's talking about real world things she can't understand. So, yeah. So next thing we're going to talk about is my neck, my back, my crack lady. Alright, so I get this one at the dollar store. I don't really give a shit, but me and Rob listened to this, and then we looked up some other stuff. I tell you, I don't necessarily care about Kia, but she is a comedian outside of this.
Yes.
We saw some really funny like material from her. Like she's going off on like what Janet Jackson, right?
Like, yeah, I think it was Janet Jackson.
Yeah. So I'm kind of glad I picked this up.
Yeah.
It reminded me that she existed. And,
oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Some very funny things on it.
Yeah.
I don't know about underrated, but
yeah. So this is one that I listened to that Rob hadn't really heard. M83 is one of my favorite groups. They kind of like mostly known for like their like instrumentals. They had two this like epic right before this. Hurry Up We're Dreaming. It's a classic. Critics loved it. And then this came out. It's kind of like dancey or mix of genres. Like you get like their French electronica. You disco. Hell, you get like some like song that sounds like elevator music on here. But it is so fun. I picked this back up this year, and I haven't been able to like stop bringing it back out because I don't know. I think it's actually a little more versatile than their other albums. But for some reason, people really went lukewarm on this. So if you're an M83 fan and you didn't like this album, write in the comments why. Because I think it's about as good as anything that they put out before.
It's junk.
That's a great cover, though. I love the little Muppet thing going on there. So the next one we'll talk about, Rob leading in on this, is Highly Suspect, MCID.
Yeah. Again, this is an album the critics really didn't like. They didn't like how it strayed away from rock and had some rap aspects with electronic elements.
Fan chat on it too.
Yeah, I love when artists try all kinds of different like genres and mix up the track list, mix up the song. So, I mean, you go from a rock song to a more rap song to an acoustic song. This album has all those types of songs, and a lot of it's really, really good. I will say I don't care for a lot of the interludes, but the actual songs are great. I I really don't understand why people didn't like this album, especially people that were into Highly Suspect before. It has great tracks like Fly, 16, Canals, which I think is a killer rock song and one of their best tracks overall. And then Arizona is a nice acoustic song, and then they have These Days also, which is another heavier rock song. Not heavy, but rockier song, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I mean, I would say everything we've talked about so far, I think this is probably the most underrated, and people really slept on this. There's a lot of good stuff on this album.
So the fans chat on this one too. Like, a lot of the fans seem to like really, really like the first album, which is kind of like a throwback to like, if you like, the 90s grunge, this is kind of like the band for people at one point. But if you listen to a second album, there's so much variety on it. I don't understand why any fan would think that they weren't heading in like this direction where they were just gonna, do different things. And with the more like electronic like hip hop thing, I feel like the vocals really got to shine on this album. Like he's really soulful on a lot of vocals, and like the singles like Tokyo Ghoul. I don't know. That was one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
The Teddy Bear song. I thought that was a great collaboration with Nothing But Thieves.
That's another good one.
Yeah, yeah. And for the fans even complaining about the hip hop element, like Rob said, a lot of the songs you could put on those other albums, they're like straight up rock songs, like Canals, and there was a bunch of other ones that kind of leaned in that
These
direction.
Days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's a long track list. There's like 16 tracks on it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the rappier songs, skip them. I mean, there's so much good material in this album that I can't understand
Even
why
the
someone would
rappier
like the other
songs
stuff.
still have that same melodic vibe of the other songs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that much of a departure.
Yeah.
So it's really weird to me. I don't get it.
Right.
Once again, if you disagree, tell us why.
Yeah. If someone agrees with us or disagrees, put it in the comments, or other albums you'd recommend or have thoughts on.
Yeah.
Last one.
So I feel like this is the best closer because of how much impact maybe like the fan response had, and it's Linkin Park's album, last album, One More Light. For me, like, I'm not gonna say I was as big of a fan of Linkin Park as Rob was. I would buy this stuff and I would enjoy parts of it. I bought this one because I usually buy their stuff, and it's hit or miss. But I bought this one, and I had almost like the same experience I had with David Bowie's last album. I listened to it before anything happened, and I listened to it, and I was like, something feels different about this. There's definitely a lot of passion put into this. So if you want Linkin Park to only put out like straight up banging rock albums over and over again, then you're gonna hop off on this. But aside from a lot of the tracks lacking maybe the same edge the other albums did, this was a great pop rock album. And if you forget that one of the reasons that Linkin Park was as good as they were was Chester Bennington's vocals, then I don't think you understood Linkin Park, because the vocals are spot on here and as heartfelt as anything he's ever done. The lyrics, this is not just trying to jump on a train just to sell more albums. This is something I truly believe he was passionate about. And I remember playing this on my speaker at work, and I would play the album a couple times, and I would hear songs like One More Light, and it was literally like, it was heart crushing. And that's before what happened. I just don't get why people didn't get this before.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great album. I don't think it's one of Linkin Park's best, but I mean, they've done other albums that weren't straight up rock, like A Thousand Suns. I'd say it's the closest to that album. Like Brian said, I mean, Chester Bennington has amazing vocals, and songs like One More Light have, really powerful singing and lyrics. That's probably my favorite song in the album. But also, I really like Nobody Can Save Me, heavy, sharp edges.
Heavy's great.
Yeah, I mean,
Battle Symphony.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, it's not my favorite album from them, but it's a really good album. It's definitely something I embraced when it came out. Yeah, I like when bands try different styles. I don't understand why they complain when bands try different styles, but then they also complain when they continuously do the same album over and
They
over
can't
again.
win sometimes.
That's right. So what do you want? I personally like when they change styles.
I love it.
So I like the variety, and I thought this was a good album from Linkin Park.
I think in closing, what I want to say is, you don't have to like everything a band puts out. If you don't like it, listen to the new stuff, listen to something else, and the band will probably bring something more to you liking the next time. But let a band do their own thing. That's part of the creative process, and I don't know why people have to like trash something so bad. Like I don't know about the Chester Bennington thing. Like, but I can imagine someone like absolutely dogpiling on one album or something you put your heart into can't be a good thing. So just let it go. Stop being so friggin' negative, and just concentrate on what you do like, and that's what we're gonna try to do. And I think this is a good example of what our channel is gonna be doing.
That's right.
So all right. So in closing, peace to you all, and thank you for watching.
Adios.